All right.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is my first time on YouTube Live, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Welcome to Maestro's Corner for Cleveland Opera Theater's Opera 101. Our daily meetings with the audience of the world, I guess. Um my name is Domenico Boyagian, music director of Cleveland Opera Theater, and today we have another special guest, baritone Grant Youngblood. Sir, how are ya?
Doing good. How are you?
Thanks for being here with us.
My pleasure.
I'm so happy that that you're able to join us. I met you. Yeah, we met in at Opera Delaware, right? First time,
I think it was out. I was out
wasn't it?
with the Sea Symphony.
What if for the Sea Symphony, me as an audience member, but in terms of being colleagues,
Yes, was Opera
uh,
Delaware.
it was Opera Delaware. I stepped in to cover a couple of rehearsals at like the last minute of Tabarro and Suor Angelica, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Tabarro and Suor Angelica. Obviously, you are not in Suor Angelica.
I was not in Sor
You are
Angelica.
not in Suor Angelica, but you were definitely in Tabarro.
I was in Tabarro.
And let me tell you, Grant. Let me tell you that opera. If I could just pick one opera, which is impossible to do and
Mhm.
not a very smart question to ask, by the way, so I'm just going to ask myself, which opera would you take with you on that desert island?
The desert island.
God, it has to be. It's got to be
It's
Tabarro.
pretty amazing, isn't it?
How is singing it? I mean, was that was not your first time, right?
That was my second time.
That was your second time. So new but not new,
Right.
meaning that you sang it twice. You knew the piece very well. You've seen it. You were an audience member, but it was your second time singing it. Probably very different than your first time.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, how is that role?
It's amazing. I was talking to the board. They had a board meeting like a month or so before rehearsal started,
Uh
and
huh.
we were talking about the Tridico in general. And I was telling them that Puccini, as much as we love Puccini, he didn't really write great roles for baritones. So many of them,
That's
lots
right.
of sopranos and tenors, not so many for
That,
baritones.
that's right.
But Michele in Tabarro is a great role. Um, there's
On so many levels,
on
right?
so
I
many
mean,
levels.
not just melodies, but who you are as a character.
Characters.
Uh, you're kind of the center around which everyone else kind of revolves, and
Right.
that being tenor and soprano. So you do have the responsibility of being the bad guy, but not really.
Well, not
You're
really,
not
exactly.
you're not really a bad guy, but in the end, you are a really bad guy.
Yeah, and he does bad things, but he's not malicious or vindictive at all. He's just really hurt.
That's right.
Um, and I kind of like the way that we staged it in Opera Delaware, because it sort of highlighted a little bit the fact that Michele and Giorgetta's child had died,
Hmm.
and how much that had affected their relationship. Um, and which had obviously their relationship had never recovered.
That's right.
So
What a sad story.
it is completely sad and completely human. That's one of
Yeah.
the things that makes it, I think, a masterpiece. That we you would never see a more human story on the opera stage than Il
Yeah.
Torado.
Well, it was. It's actually the magic of Puccini's verismo, which is not just in the way he orchestrates and in the way that the libretto is written, but as soon as
Mhm.
you smell it, all of a sudden is more there's more humidity in the
Yes.
air. You just feel the boat. I mean, it just completely transports you
Right,
to a place under a bridge somewhere. I mean, it's just incredible. It's
right.
incredible.
He creates this oral world of Paris and a riverboat on the Seine, just with that score. It's so amazing.
What a piece.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Anyway, I digress. The first question that I wanted to ask you is, what are you at the moment? Are you safe? Are you healthy because of this horrible tragedy of COVID? Tell us.
Yeah, I am safe at home in Wilmington, Delaware, is where I live. This
Hmm.
is my kitchen.
That's great resonance. It's a
Yes,
beautiful
it is.
place.
Yeah, so the hard surfaces and granite and everything. It's a great place to sing in the morning. Yeah, we're safe and healthy here.
Good.
You know, tested negative for COVID and trying to stay masked and socially distanced and
Yep.
all that. It seems like I've hardly left the house except to go for groceries and
Yeah.
drugs.
And please continue to do so. Obviously, I know that you will, because it's the only way that this thing is going to leave us. It's not magic. It's science.
It's
That's
science.
that's all it is. That's all it is. Um, why a singer? I mean, of the many things that you're an intelligent man, you are entertaining, you are well read, you are a lot of things, and you picked I want to be a baritone when you were probably 2 years old, right?
When I was 2 years old. Not quite that early. No, I guess I sort of fell into it in a way because I went to college to study computer science.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
I kind of had a mind at one time, and
that.
then
You still do, Grant. You still
and
do.
then I, switched majors to voice to my father's eternal sorrow. But yeah, I mean, I found that I mean, I had always sang
Hmm.
in choirs here and there, all the way through school and in church and everything, and into college. And then my sophomore year in college, my the concert choir, the audition choir I was singing in, was drafted to do
Hmm.
a production of La Boheme. And I just had so much fun being on stage and
Yep.
creating, being somebody else on stage. I think that's probably the attraction for a lot of performers, a lot of actors, is the chance to sort of escape from themselves in a
That's
way
right.
and
That's right.
become somebody else for a while on stage. So I auditioned for the opera workshop and started doing little tiny roles. My very first role was Betto, actually, speaking of the Trinitico.
Nice.
Betto
Nice.
and Johnny Skiki. And then,
That's another great opera.
yeah, it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it's not, probably it wasn't. I mean, a bit though. It's not an easy opera to sing. It's
No,
not easy.
that's a
It's complicated, like even rhythmically, just rhythmically.
yeah, those ensembles, they do not come together by themselves. You have to work
That's
on
right. That's right. So in that sophomore year, I guess, right?
that.
That's when kind of you saw two paths, and you were kind of looking at both.
Yeah, I guess you could say it that way. And I was never temperamentally the sort of person who could, get up at 6:30 and go to a, a linear algebra class or
Yeah.
compiler construction. So that was hard.
Yeah, I understand. And then obviously you didn't regret it because you did so well and you're still doing so well. And I can tell that you love it
Yeah.
by seeing you just perform and being in rehearsal. You're actually one of those people that comes to rehearsal with a smile already. And there's not that many people like that, including myself.
Well, I guess perhaps it depends on how taxing mentally and vocally the opera that you're going to be rehearsing is. If we're
Yeah.
rehearsing Penderecki or something like that, I rehearsed a production of a little role in the production of The Nose, Shostakovich at the Met.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I smiled once during that whole process.
It's stressful. It's
It
not
is so
just,
stressful.
yeah, from also where you sing, who your colleagues are, because
Yeah.
let's face it, you have to fall in love with somebody in 6 weeks. Actually, from the first rehearsal, there
The
has
first
to be
person.
chemistry. It's actually your job, whether you like it or not. You just have to do it because, as an actor, you have to make us believe that not only you can always sing and you are always in great vocal form every day, but you have to be believable as a lover, as a murderer, as a uh, whatever it is that
Whatever it
you're
is.
playing,
Yeah.
right? My goodness, I love it. I love it. I think that you guys, you singers, have one of the best jobs. And if I could, I would be a singer.
You would totally be a singer. I could picture that
Obviously for the money. Obviously.
obviously, yeah.
Obviously for the money.
To be able,
Second reason
yeah,
is because just being and just singing those incredible notes
yeah.
and being someone else. I do want to be someone else every once in a while, you know?
Every once in a while, we all want to be somebody else. We all want to be, Scarpia or Figaro or Horace Tabor
That's right.
or Michele.
That's right. Since we mentioned COVID, it's a tough time for artists. It's a
It really
tough
is.
time for musicians, even for someone with long career such as yourself. Um, no one is immune to these economic challenges.
Mhm.
So, how did this impact you uh, personally?
Well, I mean, everything kind of ground to a halt here. Um, Contracts canceled left and right. All my summer work dried up immediately. I just lost my would have been a nice gig in the fall singing Rigoletto.
Mm.
So everything is kind of, for the rest of this year at least, is all shut down.
So, how many gigs? Uh,
I think we're at 5 at
oh my goodness!
the moment. Yeah.
Wow. Till December or beyond December?
Till I think into January, I think. I'm supposed to do some chamber music in January. I'm supposed to start working on a new opera, I think, in February. Um, Hopefully that will still happen.
Tough. It's tough. And the issue is also I don't know how we are going to come back
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's right now everybody has to reinvent the wheel, meaning uh, we have to do interviews also to be able to see each other and
Yeah.
kind of keep in touch and let the audience know that hey, we are here.
We're here.
We are thinking of you also, you know, and we are keeping you. You have to kind of follow what's going on because when we come back, we will be back.
Yes.
But how do you think we're going to come back from this? I mean, it's not that it was a walk in the park before, where millions
Yeah,
and millions of dollars were thrown to opera houses just like that. Um,
it's true.
it's going to be a little tough, huh?
I don't know if the business model itself will have to evolve, uh,
Hmm.
change in scale, possibly. I mean, the art form itself is so expensive that how you, it's the revenue that companies get from tickets is comes nowhere near to supporting an actual production.
That's why it's usually between 15 and 20%.
Yeah.
That's the ticket revenue.
Wow.
The,
So
the rest has to come from somewhere.
from somewhere.
Hmm.
So I guess maybe we'll have to go to a model where there's socially distant seating for a while. So you have to do more performances for a quarter house or something like that.
That's
Um,
right. That's right. We have to sit one here, one over there.
mhm,
The orchestra. I don't know how the orchestra is going to fit in a pit.
yeah, I we saw a video a while ago from mid-May of a concert in Prague, I think it was, of one of the Bach motets, and
Hmm.
just everyone was in a normal configuration. It was in a concert hall, maybe a church, but everyone was wearing masks.
Well, that's the thing. It's actually Prague is a city in one of those countries where there's actually an understanding that you get out of the house, you wear a mask.
Hmm.
If you don't wear a mask, it's like not wearing a shirt.
Yeah,
When you go to a grocery store, somebody's going to come up to you and say, "Can you please wear a shirt?"
right.
And it's understood to be the right thing to do because it's a very, very small inconvenience for a very, very little amount of time throughout the day.
Throughout the day, right.
Okay, and there are thousands of people that are doing it: doctors, nurses, military personnel. It just and they have to do it days and hours at a time, and they are totally healthy. I'm sorry, but I just don't understand what the big deal is.
What the big deal is, right? Somehow, I mean, these folks, all the singers in the chorus were were wearing masks. All the players, the conductor, the camera guys wandering around, videoing everything, and
Yeah,
it was a wonderful
and this was
performance.
in May. This was in May,
Yeah, this was just
which
in
is
May.
like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know some theaters are reopening in Europe. They all have different ways of
yeah,
doing it, depending what the situation is locally.
right.
But even in Italy, concerts started. I mean, going to concerts and going to opera is a part of your weekly activity,
Yeah,
uh,
as it should be.
as it should be, as it should be. So, in my conservatorio at Bologna, and under the porticos, there's porticos on four sides.
Yes.
So, in a little corner, there's instruments, and there's a piano, and there's a violin, there's a cello. And along the wall and along where the columns are people sitting and
Hmm.
just enjoying the concert.
Wow.
So, they figured out a way to be outside, to play music, and to invite people to listen to them.
Yeah,
So that's great.
yeah.
That's
And
great.
we can find a way to do that here. We can just, get the infection rate down.
Yeah, yeah, we will. We will. There's some very very good brains in this country, and very creative because you got to be creative too, not just smart.
Yeah, yeah,
So we'll do it. That I'm hopeful for.
yeah.
I know for sure that we're coming back and actually stronger than before because all these things that we are doing, I feel like we are just establishing a much stronger relationship
Yeah,
with the people that are watching us, you know?
right. Or that they feel invested of themselves into making sure
Exactly.
that happens.
Exactly. Well, we started talking about Tabarro. How's another role that you just uh, love doing, but I want to know why. Why you just love singing that role. If I had to guess for you, would it be Rigoletto? It can be something else. It can be something else.
Rigoletto would be pretty high up on that list. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, Again, because of all the vocal challenges in there and the tremendous payoff when it works for you. Um,
Does it feel satisfying at the end?
oh, tremendously.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like
I
emotionally satisfying?
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, years ago, I got to fly in and save the day and do a performance of one like at the last minute down in Florida,
Uh-huh.
and getting through the production. I had very supportive colleagues there, and everyone was pulling for me. But just to get to that last scene, sing that last duet, La Maledizione, and the crowd goes wild, and it was fun.
I
Very
just
fulfilling.
have chills thinking about the opera right now.
Mhm.
How many days notice did they give you in this
Uh,
particular production?
they just called me that morning because the baritone. I was like the second
Really?
last guy. I was supposed to go down and do like an extra performance that they'd added in between the middle of a weekend run,
Uh-huh.
and but that wasn't supposed to be for a couple of weeks. And then they called me up and said he has allergies. Could you fly down?
Wow. Well,
So
good thing you know the role.
yeah, fortunately, and I had just coached like the first half of it the day before.
That's good.
So
That's good. Rigoletto, Verdi was our composer of the month. It sounds so stupid when I say it like this. Composer of the month. Well,
composer.
anyway, people understand.
Yes.
Composer of the month last month,
Uh-huh.
June. Um, what's so? I know the answer to this. What's so special about Rigoletto?
I would say because I mean when you think about the way that Verdi talked about character,
Hmm.
when he said I find it very beautiful that this man should be outwardly uh, deformed and scarred, but inwardly passionate and full of love. And I think bringing that passion out through the music that Verdi wrote uh, is just thrilling, and it's a surefire hit if you can do it well. That first duet that he sings with Gilda is just talking about his dead wife. I think is spectacular music. The whole scene, the first scene was Spada Fucile.
That's right.
Uh,
That's right. Sparafucci.
yeah. See? Total singer, yes. Yeah.
Mm.
There's just a wealth of emotional riches, and as well as the vocal challenges.
Yeah, what are some of the vocal challenges? Because there's some pretty high notes, and you have to be on stage pretty much the
Yeah,
entire time.
you're on stage most of the time. The vocal challenges would be, I mean, besides the high notes, there's a fair bit of passaggio work, um, and there's a tremendous range. You have to be able to sing lyrically,
Uh-huh.
beautifully, and then also be able to crank up bring the steel and bring the fire in Cortigiani and uh, and Si Vendetta. So to be able to go back and forth between those extremes, it can be a vocal challenge. Your instrument has to be in good shape,
Hmm.
and you have to know how far you can step on the gas, as my coach here might say,
Uh-huh.
uh, without just hollering, because hollering a hollering baritone and rigoletto, that just gets old almost immediately.
Yeah.
Five
Yeah.
minutes of that and you're ready for something else.
Yeah. I understand.
So
And you gotta last. You gotta
yes,
have stamina.
gotta have some stamina. It's a different kind of stamina than you need for Macbeth, but
Hmm.
you definitely have to have the stamina for this.
Yeah, because every single Verdi opera has its own little challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you kind of have to get used to sing a new role, even though it's the same. It's the same composer.
Yeah.
Um, what do you do to keep your instrument um, sounding like it sounds? It's great and healthy. Do you have like a regime? Are you you don't drink too much? Do you sleep well? What do singers have to do to have that? You know how people would carry a violin and no, I
Yes.
cannot leave it in the car.
Oh yeah.
No, it's too much humidity. I'm going to sleep with it tonight.
Mhm.
So you're carrying your own instrument
Yeah.
and it's your own body because it's not just this, but it's this,
Mhm.
it's your stomach. I mean, it's everything.
Right.
Do you take care of yourself also because of your instrument?
Oh yeah, I think you have to. I think when I'm doing master classes and talking to young singers, I tell them how important it is that you stay healthy,
Hmm.
um, that you stay flexible. I tell them you don't have to spend 4 hours in the gym every day to sing opera. You just have to be healthy and be flexible, be able to move. Um, if you're being in good aerobic shape, being able to get a good breath underneath you and then use it efficiently, that's also a vocal technique skill as well. But um, as far as sleeping and drinking, I think sleeping is way important. As the
Hmm.
years have gone by, I've drinking is something that I do more of than I should probably, especially now. Yes. Yeah, lately there's been a fair bit of drinking. So and tenors who've told me I just couldn't possibly drink or anything before the show, or 2 days before I have to sing or something like that. I said, I have two words for you: Jussi Björling, a great tenor who couldn't not drink and sing.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, but tenors are a species that they're just different. Wouldn't you say? They're just, I love them. They're entertaining. They are as crazy as like I don't know even how to, but they're just it's incredible.
you know
All tenors. Am I generalizing? Yeah. I think it's okay, and I think they know that.
yeah, I
I
suppose.
do it with love. I do it with love.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's keeping yourself healthy, I think, and you work out a vocal regime. Part of being a singer is a big part of being a singer is learning what your instrument is, what it will do, how far you can, step on the gas, how far you can, or as I tell students, finding out what your voce piena is.
Yeah.
Um, that's just one of the skills that you have to have.
So in other words, what you're telling me, you have to be a smart person if you want to be a singer.
It certainly helps. Yes. Yeah.
It's so important, and I need people to understand that singers are very, very intelligent human beings, not just in here, but almost like emotionally. They
Yeah.
have to be able to you have to be able to control yourself, to hold in emotions. If you're having a bad day but you have to sing at night, somehow you have to split the two things.
Hmm.
You have to be responsible with your colleagues, your conductors, your audience, your crew. I mean, it's incredible
Right.
what you have to go through as a
Right.
singer. So my hat, good
Yeah.
for you.
The emotional intelligence that you have to bring, as well as just
It's so high. It's
love.
got to be so high because if not, I'm sorry, but you can't last. I mean, it's grueling.
It's grueling.
It's grueling. It's a lifestyle that is not for everyone. In
Hmm.
fact, not everyone can last 20 years
Right.
doing this. It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. I've seen it on my dad how difficult it is to be an opera singer, you
Yeah.
know? So speaking of body and voice, you are a perfectly normal human, which brings me to believe that you probably in your lifetime, in this career, had some tough things going on in your life. I don't want to know what they are, but the point is, either I don't know, a family member lost, or some other hard emotional things um, that would affect this.
Hmm.
Does this impact the voice? Do those events, the death of a loved one or whatever, or a split up or whatever, can that impact your voice?
I would say so. Um, Depending on, like you said, how you can, compartmentalize those things.
Hmm.
Some people are better at that than others. One colleague of mine was in the middle of a run of Cenerentola when he was informed that his sister had just died, and there was nobody else to do the show. And he said, "Okay, I can do this, so long as
Wow.
no one comes up to me backstage and says anything about it. I just want to show up and do the job, and then go home and mourn."
Wow.
So
Was he able to do it?
he was able to do it.
Wow.
You know. Um, it's a really a compartmentalizing thing. If you want to be a success, if you want to, have some kind of consistency through your performing, that's something you have to figure out how to do. How to sing when you really are just hating life.
It's difficult,
Yeah, yeah.
very difficult. Anyway, one of the many skills that because one can go to the office, not talk to anybody, uh, play on your computer, do a meeting, and then go home.
Right.
But for artists such as yourself, even more so than other musicians, because you can hide behind a baton, you can hide
Yeah.
behind an instrument, but you can't hide on stage.
On stage, right. Yeah.
Uh, my dad used to tell me all the time, I'm the one that is facing the audience, not you, Domenico. I said,
Hmm.
I understand that. I understand. And he is totally right.
He's right.
He's totally right. Um, it was Giuseppe Verdi month. Now, composer of the month is our friend Gioacchino Rossini,
Woohoo!
one of the greatest.
One of the greatest.
Oh my goodness, I love him. I love him because he makes me smile. He
Yes.
gives me chills. He gets me excited very quickly, and
Hmm.
he has his own way of doing it. His
Right.
own way that no one else was ever able to reproduce because and things were coming easy for him. He was
Yes.
in his early 20s when Barbiere di Siviglia came out, which is mind blowing if
Yeah.
we think about it. So do you sing any Rossini?
I have sung Barbieri quite a bit in my youth.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
uh, I suppose I could still do Barbieri. It's been a little while.
I think you can.
I can, still wrap my chords around that. Uh, what else? Gosh, of Rossini. I mean, I studied Dandini in Cenerentola. I never really got to perform it, but I did study it.
That's
It's
another incredible opera,
another
isn't it?
incredible opera. Yeah, such a fun role. Um, I haven't done a whole lot of other of the more serious, the opera seria of
Yeah,
Rossini.
yeah, of
I haven't
course.
really done those.
Well, also you haven't done it because it's not done very
Right.
often.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the end, what we do sometimes is a business also,
Yes.
and if you are not the Met, where they do 35 productions, and you could do one of some unknown
Right.
opera or some unknown composer.
Right.
Even it's difficult for us. We have two main stage productions plus new opera festival where we just do contemporary music,
Hmm.
contemporary. So in those two productions, we don't have a lot of leeway
Right.
to explore.
Right.
So many we are trying, but
Mhm.
we kind of have to cater to our audience. We
Right.
have
Sort
to
of the
listen to
top
them.
10 thing in a way. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard to balance that balancing act of somewhat off the beaten path repertoire versus things that everyone knows that are sure to sell. You know.
That's right. Do you like Rossini as an audience member?
Oh yes, very much.
What do you like about it?
Um, in his comedies, especially, I would say the sparkle that
Hmm.
he puts in his music. Like you say, it always makes you smile.
Hmm.
Makes you smile. It makes you laugh. He, he can set up these ridiculous situations, and
Uh-huh.
then but somehow when you're singing about it, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, and then in something like Semidamide, there's like so much gorgeous, gorgeous music.
Hmm. I mean, starting from the overture with that
Yeah,
horn quartet.
yeah, that he can just really bring the depths of emotion in that score.
Yeah.
So um, he's he was just an amazing guy. He was a complete rock star, for lack of a better term.
That's right. No, it's perfect. That's
most
perfect.
most celebrated composer of his time.
Yeah.
just retired fairly early and just lived off the money he'd made and lived a good life. Um,
Yeah.
that, that
Joy,
would
you know.
that would be something for you to perform those some of the sins of my old age. So that's
Uh-huh. That's right. I mean, he does have incredible music after he retired.
yeah.
He also spent time composing for chamber music
Mhm.
and not just vocal. It would be really nice to explore um, all those notes at some point. Maybe when I will retire. Uh,
Sure.
that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I mean,
Uh,
you some sins of your own old age to look forward to.
that's right.
Why
That's
not?
right. So vocally, what's how different is it to sing either Figaro in Barbiere or but compared to, let's say, Germont in
Mhm.
Traviata by Giuseppe Verdi?
Um,
I mean, is somebody up there can think, hey, he's a singer. I mean, how difficult is it? You just say it in another language.
right,
Notes are notes. It's the
right.
same.
Not so much for
Not
me.
so much. Why,
Not
why,
so
why
much.
not? Why not?
Um, for one thing, performing Figaro is usually more physical, running around more. It lies higher than Germont. Um, what's the way to say it?
It's not an easy question to
It's
answer.
you need I think especially if you sing a lot of them, you need to have a very buoyant, lean vocal production, uh, a sound
Yeah.
that you're not going to bulk up, um, because you have to be able to sing ideally some fioritura.
Yeah. So
Uh,
good.
my coach said that when I was working on learning Barbieri, he was like, "You realize, of course, this opera should really be called Almaviva because he's the one who's really working,
That's
working
right.
hard all night long.
Uh-huh.
Once you get through Dunque Io Som, you can pretty much coast the rest of the night if you have to. So even
It's
though it's
very
a
true.
title role, you don't really deserve it."
It's very true, though.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
know. But they're both very fulfilling in different ways. But
Mhm.
um, it's an exciting role to sing. I love seeing Figaro, and
Yeah, it's just good music, and also the relationship between the characters.
yeah,
You play off of each other.
they
It's
can play
very
off of each other
important.
really well.
As opposed to sometimes some Puccini or some Verdi or some Mascagni, you can actually be your own character,
Right.
and you don't necessarily have to feed off one another as often and as much as you need to do in Rossini.
You need to do in Rossini. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that's why the relationship with your colleagues has got to happen quickly,
pretty quick.
and
Yeah,
that's another the difficulty that you guys have to go through is just connect
yeah,
so quickly with other humans.
yeah.
Uh, Everyone has their story and everyone has their own background. So, kudos to you. Young singers, I think that a lot of young singers are watching us or will be watching this interview. Um, in this pandemic situation, let's say that someone just graduated or is on their last year. The fall would be the
Yeah.
beginning of their last year um, in school. What do you say besides keep the hope up, be positive as much as you can? What would you say?
Uh, I would say look for opportunities to perform,
Hmm.
um, whether it's a big opera role somewhere or just some songs somewhere. You
Hmm.
learn a lot by doing recitals, putting together a program for a recital.
Hmm.
Look for opportunities to do that. Another thing that I tell young singers a lot is to, because this is a hard life, especially as you're starting out, you need to find something to sing that is your own personal thing, something you love that reminds you why you want to be a singer.
Hmm.
Whether it's something that people are going to pay to hear or not is a whole other issue.
Mm.
But something that you enjoy, uh, Yiddish operetta, uh, Czech art songs,
Uh-huh.
um, Neapolitan songs, classic old musical theater. That's my own personal thing. I happen to be a big fan of the music of Cole Porter and Kurt Weill and those guys who wrote musical theater for singers. Um,
Right. That's right.
one buddy of mine recently just sort of came out of the closet as an aficionado of Brazilian folk song, and she has
Oh,
started
wow.
posting videos every week of her singing, and I didn't even know who knew that she was fluent in Portuguese, but she is, and she sings these fabulous Brazilian songs. But where else are you going to hear things like that? So find something that feeds you and reminds you why you love singing.
Yeah,
Um, Especially in these times when we're not going to have as many opportunities to perform in a
that's
crowd,
right.
in a theater, in front of people. So that's what
Yeah.
the advice that I would give.
So from 0 to 10, how much do you value experience versus talent? To me, experience is number one. So
Yeah.
you're telling them to build experience practically, right?
Yes. Right. Um, it sort of depends as far as opera. I think it depends a little bit the role that you're casting or whatever. Personally, I don't understand why companies go to New York and spend a fortune and spend a week there auditioning every unemployed singer in the city for their production of Magic Flute,
Yeah.
their production of Bohème. Um,
Yeah.
when you're casting Simone Boccanegra, yeah, you're going to want to audition some really experienced baritons. Um,
Exactly.
there's the youthful energy of talent. Young talent
Uh-huh.
can be also certainly a draw.
That's
Um,
right.
I mean,
But
like
in the end, go
yeah,
ahead, sorry.
yeah. At the end, you want to the experience, especially for a long role, difficult role. You want someone who knows how to wrap their chords around that music, rather than
Hmm.
just sort
Yeah.
of pummel through. Um, Years and years and years ago, since speaking of Orsini, um,
Uh-huh.
I sang Barbiere with the young doing his very first one, Alma Viva of Larry Brownlee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It was his first one?
it was his first one, and
Nice.
talk about you know talented youth shining through.
Yeah.
He I mean, he sang Chess di più resistere for that production, and I think he's always done it ever since.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and it was just spectacular.
Yeah.
So that kind of youthful
Where
talent.
was that? Where was that? Do you
That was
remember?
in Virginia,
Virginia? Okay.
Virginia Opera.
Very good.
So I mean, you could see, yes, this is definitely a superstar here in the making.
Mm. Mm.
So that was definitely a career highlight.
Yeah, every once in a while
Yeah,
you get one of those.
yeah.
It's nice to see it begin,
See it begin.
you know.
Yes, to
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
started.
yeah. Another couple questions, and then we'll let you go. I already took too much time out of your day. Um, Anything coming up that you want us to know about that you are involved in? You told me that everything got canceled until January, but if
Yeah,
there's anything,
I am theoretically supposed to be doing a role in a world premiere by Lara Kaminsky
oh, nice.
out at Dayton Opera in the spring.
Okay,
Um, it's an opera about Orville and Wilbur Wright, who have their connection there in
that's
Dayton,
right. Of course.
and specifically about their sister, actually,
Interesting.
who was quite involved in the backstory of their success. So that'll be interesting to, she writes some wonderful music. So I'm looking forward to trying it on.
Did you start studying it, or you probably don't have it yet?
We have like the first couple of scenes,
Okay.
so I'm just starting on it. Yeah,
Okay, very good. So probably I can come see you in
come and
Dayton.
see us. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
yeah. We're doing a couple of workshop sessions. I think one or two of them are supposed to be virtual, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen, but
Yeah, it's going to be a little difficult for that.
that'll
Yeah.
be different. So that's the next big thing, quote unquote, that's I have coming up that I'm working on. I'm doing some chamber music before that in February. Some
Where?
concert of out in Colorado,
Okay.
in Colorado Springs. There's a couple of various places around there. Um, a series of songs, kind of a suite, sort of by a woman named Jennifer Barker, who's a wonderful composer on the faculty at the University of Delaware, and
Nice.
she's written these pieces for baritone, clarinets, piano, and cello. So
Nice.
she writes really well for the voice. So I'm looking
That's a
forward to
nice mix. That's a nice
yeah,
combination of yeah, yeah.
yeah. She gets some great sonorities out of that combination. So
Mm.
um, I'm looking forward to that. That was one of the things that was canceled from this this time. So
So they were able to postpone it to another date.
yeah, they were able
Good.
to reschedule it for the spring out there. So
Very good.
yeah, got
Very
that.
good. Well, we'll look forward to those at least those two performances. At least hopefully those are the few things that you're going to be start with,
Yeah,
and and then that's going to push you through
hope
all these contracts that hopefully are going to come back. And I
contracts that will hopefully be coming in. I'm sure my agent would
exactly.
appreciate that too. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I know, but they will. They
yeah.
will. I'm hopeful they will. Last question that I ask everyone, and I prob from our, from what you told us earlier, I kind of know where it's going to go. But um, if Grant wasn't a opera singer, what would he be today? What would you have picked?
I don't know. I'd probably be living under a bridge somewhere.
Singing Tabarro, maybe?
Singing Claro to myself under a bridge somewhere. Oh wow! I mean, I probably would have gotten involved in some kind of technical computer science field. I
Mm.
suspect would have stuck with that. Um,
You still have a passion for it?
I try and I'd like sort of dabble, so I follow along with it with developments. Um, but I'm sort of a sci-fi geek in general,
Oh,
so
nice.
I I sort of keep an eye on what's happening. But yeah, I sometimes think when I retire completely from singing, I want to just like open a little cafe or
Yes.
bookstore or something like that, if those will still exist by then.
Yes.
Um,
I'm gonna come cook for you.
sure.
We'll do something nice. I think it's perfect. Like 6 tables outside, three
Yeah.
tables inside.
Oh, that'd be terrific.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's like a dream. It's like a dream. My
Yes.
goodness, I love it.
You
I
do the
love it.
cooking, I'll mix the drinks.
I totally fine. And then we close down at around 11:30 midnight. Then we
Mhm.
sit outside. We have a little prosecco. We do a little chin chin and say, "See you tomorrow, Grant.
See
See
you
you
tomorrow.
tomorrow."
Sounds like it.
uh, you make me dream. Uh, anyway, it was such a pleasure to have you. It's so good to see you. It's so good to talk to you. I haven't seen you in a while. You
Yeah.
are one of those people that is always smiling, always pleasant to be around, always prepared, totally professional. I mean, I I'm trying to think. What's he bad at? What's he bad at? I can't find it. I can't find it. I can't find
I'm
it.
sure my husband could give you a couple of
Let me. I'll talk to him later. I'll
yeah,
talk to him
talk to him
later.
later. He's not here
I think you're wonderful, and thanks again for giving us 45 minutes of your time. I think it's
now. My
been
pleasure. So glad I could join you. Great to see you.
yeah, same here. Thanks so much,
All
and
right.
we'll talk soon.
We will talk soon. You take care.
Bye, Grant.
Bye.